creative industries does hold an incredible power to be part of that movement, as we know that creativity can not only shape culture, but behavior and beliefs as well. And if we look at the projections of advertising itself in 2025, there's some pretty hefty numbers we've got here. So on an average day, anyone in this space would be seeing around 6,000 advertisements per day, which is massive. And it's more along 6 to 10,000, depending on where you live. And the global ad spend is projected to reach 1.1 trillion US dollars, which is insane. And if we're looking at social media, the total ad spend for digital ads is now 40% across social media. So if we really want to truly shift the role of this creative industry in the climate crisis, we really need to, we needed more than just a network, but a way for creatives, for partners, for agencies and all levels to kind of step into agency and action, because the creative industries isn't just the engine for commercial innovation, which we have seen, but a vital force for accelerating human development. So we can remain unwavering in our belief that creativity isn't just a tool, but a core catalyst, as creativity can create agency. It can problem solve, it can restore and inspire, it can challenge, and it can accelerate that human development. And to kind of understand this roadmap forward as we push for collective change in 2030, it's going to be important for us to look back, to learn, and to also feel gratitude for those who have kind of come into this space before us, so we can actually shape what comes next. And we're all united in this space for our love of creativity.
Looking back, I don't know if you were also inspired by Fridays for Future, but in 2019, kind of getting out onto the streets and mobilizing felt really palpable. And that was my kind of entry point into being a bit disillusioned with business as usual and sustainability CSR initiatives and wanting to do something a bit more direct. So during this time, as Robbie mentioned, Extinction Rebellion published this letter, and it's a brilliant piece of copy. It's quite obviously written by an industry insider, so I encourage you to seek it out. And it basically said two things that really inspired me. So one of them is calling out this industry as a problem. So advertising has helped promote high carbon lifestyles and also hyperconsumption. If we are to survive, this must change rapidly. So basically, you're the problem. But then they continued, as mediators between the public and brands, the advertising industry is uniquely capable of driving rapid behavior change across society around the world and should take the lead rather than be driven. So this felt like a really exciting opportunity and also recognition of the power of persuasion and influence. And so inspired by this movement and others responding to this movement, we partnered with Extinction Rebellion in the Netherlands to host the first, you can see it here, Creatives for Climate Summit. So it was hosted at Patagonia. It was a sold out event. And quite honestly, people presumed we were an organized initiative. We weren't. It was literally just a well-branded single event. But what happened was that we mobilized, a whole industry that were looking to Creatives for Climate to tell them what to do next. And so a few of us that were part of the organizing kind of committee of the single event started to experiment. So we issued, this is a year later, coming back in Patagonia again, saying okay, it's been a year since the first summit. We'd sent 5 different briefs in support of existing initiatives. So my entry point into this movement was also through XR. I read that This Is Not a Drill handbook, and I loved the kind of philosophy and mindset around what it meant to be a change agent in the space. I felt that collaboration was incredibly important. So we actually advocated and drove our whole network to support existing initiatives like Reclaim Fossil Free, supporting an ad ban in Amsterdam, Create and Strike, and others. And so these are some of the assets that some of the agencies at the time had created. This is from Nomads in Amsterdam, and actually they printed the billboards on their bodies and took them into the protest in The Hague, which was pretty cool. And so just looking back, like how we grow, a few milestones over the years. So we founded through this first event in Amsterdam. We started to grow into a global network through social channels, through connecting with others. In 2021, we launched the Creative Hub, where many of us hang out and spend time and connect today. We also defined our founding principles, which you're going to hear more about, that unite our vision. In 2022, we got some support. Yay! We became an independent nonprofit, and we started launching collective campaigns in support of fossil fuel divestment initiatives. And we launched the Ethical Agency Alliance in 2023, so a way to engage industry and agencies, which you're going to hear more about today. And really proudly, in 2024, we were actually adopted as a recognised accelerator to the UN-backed Race to Zero. And now we're a network in over 90 countries, 5,500 direct members and 50,000 supporters. So our vision is a just and regenerative future where creativity is used in service to climate solutions. I think many are attracted by this vision. I believe that's why we're growing in numbers. And how we get there is to transition the impact of creativity from driving pollution to scaling solutions. So really quickly, I want to walk you through our 2030 roadmap, which is building the movement of global creative change agents, building capacity of creatives to tackle greenwashing, pioneering a new blueprint beyond do no harm to define what good looks like, and building a new market of opportunities. This in turn creates a groundswell of change agents transforming the impact of creativity from driving pollution to scaling solutions, and it's working. So just last year, we were able to retrain 2,000 professionals. Our anti-greenwash guide reached almost 500,000 with its message. The Ethical Agency Alliance expanded to 7 countries. We mobilised 600 creatives in person across 11 different cities. We were adopted into the UN Race to Zero. So it's really exciting. And these are some of the brilliant faces that make Creators for Climate happen in different parts around the world. And I just want to kind of foreshadow that we do have an impact report coming up, releasing early May, so you can learn a little bit more about our impact. But as Tenielle shared, it's become crystal clear what needs to happen. The UN Secretary General made a very direct call in support of a fossil ad ban. He said we must stop mad men fueling the madness. And the good news is that the social tipping point is here. So 89% of the public actually want their governments to do more to tackle the crisis. They just don't know they're the majority yet, which is why coming together is so important. So just to kind of conclude that we're really interested in pioneering the new future and to painting a vision of what we can do collectively and what creativity can do and be in service of. And what we're at Creators for Climate working to solve is a lack of knowledge on greenwashing and climate communications. Often we were trained in other things. We're brilliant influencers, marketeers, storytellers, but translating and bridging that gap and being able to identify the right briefs may be a work in progress for some. Tradition also mindsets, education and career pathways. We see a lack of diverse leadership within the industry and disruptive voices, and a lack of opportunities and competitive advantage for frontrunners. So we hear that all the time, that our community want to be recognised and rewarded for taking action. So I'm really excited to share more tangible ways to make that happen.
I believe, and you probably do too, that this very same industry is full of brilliant and passionate creators and minds, some of them who are, as we can see, are in this room, and creators who have the skills to imagine, design, and mobilize new futures that are regenerative and equitable and thriving. A growing number of those creatives and brilliant minds are already in our collective. And not just creators and creators, but strategists, storytellers, energy agency leaders, and climate partners and brand change makers. Today, we are a global collective of over 5,500 members, direct members across 90 countries at Creators for Climate. And we are diverse and we are growing. So the question we asked ourselves was, how do we go from a loose community of hundreds to a coordinated global collective of thousands? We, as a small but mighty team, we are the coordinators supporting the collective network to lead the industry impact. So together we drive collective change and wider influence within society through the network. Members of our collective can plug in as learners, collaborators, and leaders. We have created a program that gives clear pathways for creatives, industries, and brands to engage with mission and values-aligned work. It's not a top-down structure, it's distributed, emergent, and flexible. Yeah, within the program, we offer both guided and self-led learning opportunities, from our curated learning library to courses like Greenwash Watch. I know a couple of people already mentioned that they have signed up to our upcoming cohort, which is amazing. And communicating climate change to the new ethical agency transition. Our ecosystem supports people at different stages of their journey, basically. And these end-to-end learning modules are designed not just to inform, but also to transform from learner to leader. With these new programs, alongside with our existing initiatives, we've truly built a collective for everyone at every stage of their journey. And that's the beauty of it. Like, the beauty of it is that it creates opportunities for both upskilling and leadership. And so it's also designed so that today's learners can become tomorrow's trainers and experts. It's a continuous cycle of impact, growth, and collaboration and empowerment. I won't go into the details of each program for the sake of our time as much as I would want to, but the way we formalize our ambassador program is actually a great example of how we reimagine this cycle of collaboration. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit. The ambassador program emerged from the growing desire among members to get involved and lead. After a year of piloting our global chapter leads, we saw just how powerful this could be. And as a small team, we also deeply value the impact that skilled community members can make by stepping up and to drive change. So building on that chapter leads program, we formalized a way to do this. And this is the ambassador program. So the program empowers people to take an active and meaningful role within our community and to help grow our movement. And the roles can take different forms, from strategic leadership to community management, content curation, event coordination. And it's a key initiative designed to enable our members to actively shape and advance climate action, basically. And if you zoom just a little bit from that, zoom out just a little bit for a second, look at the bigger picture. Reports show that the knowledge gap on sustainability topics in the creative industry is widening, as we can see on the stats. And knowing the knowledge gap was only widening, this Earth Month, our city lead ambassadors led over 10 events across 8 countries. Please correct me if I'm wrong, Tenielle, with the numbers. But they activated over 450 people to bridge the knowledge gap and challenge greenwashing at a local level. And through this powerful series of creative city meetups, and these were in places like London, Milan, Amsterdam, Ljubljana, and a few more cities, we empowered creatives to identify, challenge misleading sustainability claims, helping to mobilize the creative industries for real change. And at these events, we did polls and surveys before and after the events. According to the insights, the confidence level in identifying greenwashing has increased from 5.25 to 7.25 after the workshop. So creatives who have participated increased confidence levels in challenging greenwashing by approximately 20%. And this was just within 90 minutes baseline workshop, which were led by our ambassadors across the globe. So it's the kind of impact our small core team could never have achieved alone, and a real testament to the power of collective action we were able to create.
So we've spoken about the knowledge gap on sustainability marketing across the whole industry, but it's also worth noting according to the recent IPA report, 70% of agencies haven't started their journey into sustainability at all. And that's where the Ethical Agency Alliance steps in. In 2023, we established the Alliance, and it has been recognized as a pathway to support agencies in becoming change agents. And the Ethical Agency Alliance thus represents the growing movement of front-running agencies committing their creativity to climate solutions. So the Alliance enables agencies spanning communications, marketing, advertising, and PR sectors, aligning their services as well as client portfolios with a climate-positive future. So these are agencies that are leading the transformation by tackling greenwashing and divesting from fossil fuels, and are also willing to go beyond doing no harm to create a collective vision of what good looks like in our industry. And our theory of transformation focuses on targeting the pioneers, championing and strengthening them to set the pace for the whole industry to follow suit. So while passives continue with business as usual and participants make only incremental changes, pioneers are leading the transformation. So here's what these frontrunners are saying, that creativity for good is under threat if we don't distinguish between the ethical agencies and those just putting occasional climate-related work on their website. And also, as a small agency, it's often infuriating and isolating to self-govern by our ethics in a powerful sector that still lags far behind on climate and social justice. So in 2024, we sought to learn more about the opportunities and challenges these independent agencies at the forefront of change were facing. So here's what we learned. Ethical agencies are in fact seeing benefits. 82% of agencies reported attracting higher caliber of talent. 77% of agencies believe brands recognize and reward their ethical behavior. But we need to support ethical agencies who are putting their money where their mouth is. So we asked them to quantify the amount of work they rejected due to ethical concerns, and we learned that 6 million euros was declined due to those concerns, but with real figures actually much higher, because a lot of work was rejected prior to any kind of discussions around the budgets. Meanwhile, major polluters, particularly fossil fuel companies, responsible for 90% of global carbon emissions, continue to expand, threatening our very existence. And the social license they still hold must be revoked urgently, and we know this. We also know that to speed up and get us there, we need a vision of what good looks like, the pathway to get there, the tools to overcome the barriers in our way, and a new market of opportunities to prove the business case for adoption. With that in mind, I'm excited to share 2 new developments within the Alliance that will help drive this transformation forward. The first being the launch of brief matchmaking to drive the business case for taking action. So, to reward frontrunners that are driving change and to drive procurement towards ethical agencies, we are matching them with mission-aligned organizations and brands. And mission-aligned organizations are increasingly recognizing the benefits of working with agencies that are not posing any risk to their reputation and brand. This is why we are building on this momentum. We'll be validating the concept of service emissions, using it to drive greater accountability, create competitive advantage, and also set new ethical standards across the whole creative industries. So to support this, we'll be guiding agencies in embedding service emissions, building on the 6 key action areas, the framework that was launched by Race to Zero.